Nordic children attempt challenges 3 ways longer before giving up. The difference isn't genetics, it's one phrase their parents never say. While your child crumbles at the first sign of difficulty, Norwegian kids keep trying. What do they know about building resilience that we don't? Picture this. Your child is working on a puzzle. After 30 seconds, the familiar words escape. I can't do it. This is too hard. Your heart sinks. You want to help, but you also want them to learn perseverance. So you do what feels natural. Yes, you can. Just try harder. Don't give up so easily. But here's the devastating truth. Those encouraging words just made it worse. Because what you meant as motivation, your child heard as pressure. What you intended as support, their brain processed as judgment. And now, instead of building confidence, you've accidentally reinforced something called learned helplessness. You're not failing as a parent, you're responding the way most loving parents do. But there's something Nordic families understand about the developing brain that changes everything. Something about how children actually build genuine confidence versus artificial encouragement. And it starts with never, ever saying, yes, you can. In Nordic countries, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, something remarkable happens in classrooms and homes. When children encounter difficulty, they don't immediately give up. They don't melt down. They don't demand adult rescue. They approach challenges with what researchers call adaptive persistence. But here's what's fascinating. Nordic parents aren't more encouraging than American parents. In fact, they're often less verbally effusive. They don't cheer and praise constantly. They do something completely different. They honor the difficulty. There's a beautiful concept in Scandinavian culture called Lagom. Not too little, not too much, but just right. When applied to parenting, Lagom means honoring your child's genuine experience without minimizing it or inflating it, just witnessing it exactly as it is. When a Norwegian child says this is hard, their parent doesn't rush to contradict them with no, it's not, or overwhelm them with you've got this. Instead, they might simply say, yes, it is hard. What do you notice about the hard part? This simple shift from denial to acknowledgement does something profound in the child's brain. It validates their assessment instead of invalidating it. It treats them as a competent observer of their own experience, and it invites curiosity instead of triggering shame. Research from the University of Oslo reveals something striking about children's motivation systems. When difficulty is acknowledged rather than dismissed, children's prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for problem solving and persistence, remains online. But when difficulty is contradicted or minimized, that same brain region shuts down, replaced by emotional reactivity. The Nordic approach doesn't eliminate struggle. It transforms the child's relationship with struggle from something to escape to something to explore. Let me show you exactly how this works through what I call the Lagom Method. 4 steps that build genuine resilience instead of fragile encouragement. Step 1. Honor the truth. 30 seconds. When your child says, I can't, resist every urge to contradict them. Instead, take a breath and acknowledge their reality. This feels impossible right now, or you're noticing this is really challenging. Notice the language. You're not agreeing that they can't do it forever. You're acknowledging that right now, in this moment, it feels overwhelming to them. This distinction is crucial. When children feel their experience is witnessed accurately, something relaxes in their nervous system. The fight or flight response that gets triggered by frustration begins to calm. Instead of defending their position or escalating their distress, they can actually think. Neuroscientist Dr. Dan Siegel calls this feeling felt. When children feel truly seen in their struggle, their brain's emotional alarm system settles and their capacity for problem solving returns. You'll notice this shift almost immediately. Your child's shoulders drop slightly, their breathing deepens, the frantic edge in their voice softens. They're no longer fighting to prove how hard something is, because you've already acknowledged it. Step 2. Invite curiosity. 1 minute. Now that you've honored their experience, you invite investigation. I wonder what's making this feel so challenging, or what part seems trickiest to your brain right now. This is radically different from just try harder. or don't give up. Instead of demanding they push through, you're inviting them to understand. You're treating them as a researcher of their own experience rather than a victim of it. Children's brains are naturally curious. When we engage that curiosity instead of their compliance, something beautiful happens. They stop seeing themselves as helpless and start seeing themselves as investigators. A 5-year-old working on shoes might say, "The string keeps getting tangled." A 7-year-old with math might notice, "I forget what comes after I carry the number." A 10-year-old learning piano might observe, "My fingers want to go to the wrong keys." Each of these observations is intelligence in action. They're not making excuses, they're gathering data, and data can be worked with in a way that overwhelming feelings cannot. Research from Nordic educational systems shows that children who learn to articulate specific difficulties develop significantly stronger problem-solving skills than children who are simply encouraged to try harder. Step 3. Explore options together. 2 minutes. Once your child has identified what specifically feels difficult, you become a thinking partner, not a rescuer. Given that the string keeps tangling, what are some things we could try? Or, since your fingers want to go to the wrong keys, I wonder what might help them remember. Notice you're not providing the solution. You're not taking over. You're collaborating on possibility thinking. This teaches them that problems have multiple potential approaches, not just one right answer they should have known. Sometimes they'll generate ideas immediately. Sometimes they'll look to you. Either response is perfect. The goal isn't independence in this moment, it's building the neural pathways for flexible thinking. You might offer, "Some people find it helps too," or "I've seen kids try," but always as options to consider, not instructions to follow. Nordic parenting research emphasizes this collaborative approach. Children who learn to generate solutions with support develop much stronger intrinsic motivation than children who are either given solutions or left to struggle alone. Step 4. Celebrate the process. 30 seconds. Here's where Nordic parenting differs most dramatically from typical Western encouragement. When your child makes progress, even tiny progress, you don't celebrate the outcome. You notice the process. Instead of "good job, you did it," try, "you decided to keep thinking even when it felt hard," or "you tried 3 different ways until something worked." This language builds what psychologist Carol Dweck calls a growth mindset, the understanding that abilities develop through effort and strategy, not just natural talent. Children who receive process-focused feedback develop resilience that transfers across situations. They learn that persistence and strategy adjustment are valuable skills, not just getting the right answer. Brain imaging studies show that process-focused feedback activates the anterior cingulate cortex, the brain region associated with motivation and effort-based learning. Outcome-focused praise activates reward centers that can actually decrease intrinsic motivation over time. Here's what happens when you consistently use the Lagom method with your child. Week 1. They still say, "I can't," frequently, but they stop the complete meltdowns. When you honor their experience instead of fighting it, the emotional intensity decreases. Week 2. They start giving you more specific information. Instead of "this is stupid," they might say, "I don't understand this part." Their language becomes more precise because they feel heard. Week 3. They begin generating their own solutions occasionally. "Maybe I could try" becomes part of their vocabulary. They're learning that problems invite exploration, not just complaint. Month 2. The phrase "I can't" transforms into "I can't yet," or "I need to figure out how." They've internalized that difficulty is information, not a verdict. Month 6. Your child encounters a challenge, and instead of immediate distress, you hear them talking through the problem. "This is tricky. Let me see what's happening here." They've developed what Nordic educators call challenge appetite. This isn't about creating fearless children. It's about raising children who see difficulty as a natural part of learning rather than evidence of inadequacy. But here's the most profound shift. Your relationship with your child's struggles changes completely. Instead of fearing their frustration or rushing to eliminate it, you learn to trust their capacity to work through challenges with your support. You stop being their cheerleader and become their thinking partner. Stop being their rescuer and become their collaboration companion. This builds something far more valuable than temporary success. It builds genuine confidence in their ability to handle what life brings. Now, I know what you're thinking. But what if they really can't do something? What if it's actually too hard for their developmental level? Shouldn't I encourage them? This is where the Nordic approach shows its true wisdom. There's a profound difference between encouragement and realistic support. If something is genuinely beyond your child's current capability, if a 3-year-old is trying to read chapter books or a 5-year-old is attempting calculus, the Lagom method still applies. You honor their experience. This is really challenging for a 3-year-old brain, and then you adjust the challenge rather than inflating their confidence. Let's find something that's hard enough to be interesting, but possible enough that you can work with it. This teaches them to seek appropriate challenges rather than either avoiding difficulty or attempting impossible tasks. It builds judgment alongside persistence. Nordic educational philosophy emphasizes this calibration. Children learn to assess challenge levels realistically, which leads to more sustained effort on appropriate tasks rather than either giving up too quickly or attempting beyond their zone of development. The goal isn't fearless children, it's children who can accurately assess their capabilities and resources, seek support when needed, and persist through manageable difficulties. Let me show you what this looks like in different scenarios. The homework meltdown traditional response. You can do this. Just focus and try harder. Nordic response. Math homework feels overwhelming right now. What part is making your brain feel stuck? The sport struggle traditional. Don't give up. You'll get it if you keep practicing. Nordic. Your body is learning something new and tricky. What do you notice about what's challenging? The social challenge traditional. Just be confident. Go make friends. Nordic. Making new friends feels scary. What would help you feel ready to try? Each Nordic response validates the child's experience while inviting them into problem-solving partnership. They learn that adults can be trusted to understand their reality rather than dismiss it. 6 months from now, here's what you'll notice about your child. They approach new challenges with curiosity rather than immediate distress. When they encounter difficulty, they pause and assess rather than immediately declaring defeat. They ask for specific help rather than general rescue. Most remarkably, they develop what researchers call failure resilience, the ability to see unsuccessful attempts as data rather than devastation. That didn't work. Let me try a different way. This isn't just about childhood. This is about setting them up for a lifetime of healthy relationships with challenge, growth, and learning. Nordic adults report higher levels of life satisfaction and career resilience, and researchers believe this childhood foundation plays a significant role. Your child learns that their inner experience matters, that difficulty is normal, that thinking together solves more problems than suffering alone, and that persistence is a skill to develop, not a character trait you either have or don't have. So, the next time your child says, "I can't," remember the Nordic way. Don't contradict their experience. Don't inflate their confidence artificially. Instead, honor their reality, invite their curiosity, explore options together, and celebrate their thinking process. Try it once. The next time your child hits a wall and declares defeat, take a breath and say, "This feels really hard right now. What's making it feel most challenging?" Then listen, really listen, and watch what happens when your child feels truly heard in their struggle rather than pressured out of it. Come back and tell us what shifted. Did they share more specific information? Did their emotional intensity decrease? Did they move from complaining to investigating? Because when you stop trying to convince children they can do hard things and start helping them understand how to work with hard things, everything changes. Their confidence becomes genuine rather than fragile. Their persistence becomes strategic rather than desperate. That's the Nordic difference. That's the power of Lagom. And that's how I can't transforms into I'm figuring this out. Your child isn't broken when they struggle. They're being honest about their experience. Honor that honesty and watch resilience grow from the inside out. The Nordics have been doing this for generations. Now you know their secret too.